2414 is a podcast about finding hope and common ground through casual conversation. Like the friends on the road in the New Testament, in Luke chapter 24, verse 14, we want to walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. Thanks for walking with us.
Well, hello. Welcome to 2414. My name is Shane Welter. Today we're joined by a friend of the show, Brenda Segovia. Hello, Brenda.
Yep. Hey.
And our special guest today, Donna Breyer. Hello.
It's nice to be here.
It's nice to have
Thank you.
So, yeah, 2414. Podcast where we're still figuring out, but it's a podcast where we hear life stories, we hear people share life experiences, and we have casual conversation so that you can have conversation yourself from this and kind of grow in relationship and wisdom with one another. So today we're going to hear about Donna Breyer. We're so excited to have you on here.
Really, though.
Donna does a lot for the Church of St. Luke's. Although I don't think you'll ever admit it, but you do a lot, and we're just excited to hear your story.
Yeah. I would say that honestly, because this morning we were talking about who should we have next, and multiple people said, what about Donna?
Oh,
and she happens to be here today, and we were watching. You're like, her.
Little did you know the other like vultures are like watching you from the windows.
No
like,
idea.
Yes. So, but we start each episode with highs, lows, and a question of the day. And today's question of the day, I thought I'd get a little controversial, is what is, in your opinion, what is the most boring state? So I'll kick things off. I'll swing it over to you, Brenda. But I'll start things off. Highs, I'm excited. Tomorrow, my sister and her husband, my brother-in-law, are coming and visiting Washington, their first time in the Northwest, and I'm just so excited because I tell them it's otherworldly here because we grew up in the Midwest, so like we're so excited to show them Seattle, Tacoma, just the mountains. It might be rainy, but even so, like it's still so gorgeous. Yeah. So we're really excited to have them and host them. Lows is just that a lot of extra work, just kind of just came up this last week and the week before that, so it's been busy. But I'm staying afloat for the most part, and people are just. I feel just very supported though, so it's really good. And for me, most boring state. I thought of the question, so I already know my answer.
I'm gonna get so many comments for this episode.
That's the goal. You know, we want it controversial.
Yep.
But to me, the most boring state has to be Iowa.
Okay, I was gonna say.
My family. Yeah, without getting too in depth, because we could probably have a whole podcast episode on this. But my family did a lot of road trips growing up, so we always drove through Illinois. Illinois is a longer state than people give it credit for, and it's a lot of cornfields. But it has Chicago, it has other places in it that kind of bring it to life a little. But Iowa, oh man, that's just you get the flatness of Illinois and more corn. That's my experiences, at least. So I don't mean to rustle any feathers, but so that's my hot take for that. So I'll swing it over to you, Brenda. Highs, lows, least boring state.
For me, my high was this weekend. Got to go on a date with my husband, and we've been trying to do that more intentionally because we've noticed. It's so easy for us on the weekends to just relax and just want to crash after a work week and just hang out at home. So we're trying to get out, explore locally. So we went to a distillery, got pizza, got ice cream. So it's a good day. Very easy high. My low, I've had a lot of headaches in the last week or so that hasn't been fun. And I shared this yesterday at staff meeting, but I killed one of my plants. I was doing so good. It was a gift, a housewarming gift. And I was doing so good with watering it. I actually think it was growing. And the last few days there was sun. Surprise, surprise. Winters around here. There was sunshine, so I put it outside. And then yesterday morning, I think Adam noticed it outside. He's like, you forgot something. And it was just completely wilted. And I propped it up thinking like, maybe it'll come back. And Adam said, oh no, there's no coming back. You can snip it and maybe it'll regrow. So I did that last night, and it was so heartbreaking, like every stem to trim into. I'm like, well, now my plant is bald. Hopefully it comes back. So
what kind was it?
I have no idea, Donna. I have no idea. Somebody gave it to me. It was a plant. It was leafy. It was growing.
Well, how big was it?
It was, I don't know, like this.
Like this.
People that are listening have no idea what I'm saying, but like this. Yay, the viewers can see.
Like a foot?
About a foot.
Like
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
About a foot. And I had one other one, and that one survived, but I didn't care about that one as much, but it made it. So we'll see if it comes back.
Yeah.
And then most boring state. I also thought Iowa. I haven't been there, but when I think of states, I'm like, which state do I know the least about? And like, which one just doesn't get talked about very much? And I feel like that's Iowa. Who's from Iowa? I don't know anybody that is from Iowa. And what are they? Iowans?
Iowans?
Is that what
They are.
Iowans?
Iowans?
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, sorry, Iowans.
Sorry.
Your state's boring.
Oh, no.
Donna.
Okay.
And also, first.
My height first.
I was going to say first, for viewers at home, I guess if people do want to see face, if you want to, we could just all wave
look
to the
real
camera real quick. Yay! Now we got that done. Okay. now we're highs.
My high today is St. Luke's hosts Bible study fellowship here every Wednesday morning. And along with many other women from St. Luke's, I get to be part of that. And I am a group leader, discussion leader. And I just love growing in God's Word and learning to love God more. So very high. Lovely women. And you can't go wrong with God's Word.
Yeah.
My low, I have two. One, I've had a persistent cough for almost 4 years. I got sick 4 years ago. And I think there's hope, but I'm still not totally rid of that. The other low is, but might be a high soon, is we have been developing our family property. John and I have some acreage, and Kendra has been very vital in developing this, and Julie, all our kids. And once it is divided, our children are going to build next door to us. So, so that is a low now. It's been a long process and a lot of money, but could be a high in the future. Yeah, I hope so, Brenda. Yeah.
Just the building
most boring
part.
state. I've been to Iowa, but I have really good memories. I was only 7, and my mom is from Iowa. And so I got to actually stay on a farm with her aunts. And the aunt I stayed with didn't even have indoor plumbing. I mean, but I have fun memories. Mine has to be Wyoming, and I have not, I don't know, maybe I've driven through it, but I don't remember for sure going to Iowa. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But John is big on YouTube, and he watches where he might like to move. And he thinks Wyoming is the state. And everything I see on Wyoming is cold and boring. And so I would have to say, maybe it's my least favorite. Maybe it's not the most boring, but I have no desire.
No desire
What
for
does
Wyoming.
he like about it when he's watching these videos?
Probably conservative and then religious, you know. Everything down there seems to be a little bit more balanced than what we see here.
Yeah. I'd guess it's more homely.
I guess so, but I just see windy and cold when I look at YouTube. I don't know what he's looking at. We aren't looking at the same thing. So my boring state would be Wyoming, and no, I don't want to move there.
Sorry, John.
No, I've told him he'd have to go alone. Yeah.
That's right. You've got a compound that you're building here. So
right.
You need to move.
Right. We can't leave our compound.
Yeah.
No. Oh, that's amazing. Well, today, again, we're really excited to just kind of dive into your kind of life story, what you want to share, Donna. So I think one of the best starter questions I love to know, and I want to know about you is where are you from, or where were you born?
I was born in Ogden, Utah.
Utah. How far is that from Salt Lake City? Because that's
I'm really not good at mileage, but close enough that you can drive easily.
So
back
it's not
and
on
forth in a day. It's not that far from Salt Lake City, and I lived there till I was 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
My dad was a facilities engineer, and his job down there was looking a little iffy, so he applied at Boeing in Ogden, and they sent his resume up here. And in 1962, there was this huge influx of people that came to Washington. In fact, St. Luke's, I would say, almost doubled in size the year we came.
Wow.
The block I grew up on by Star Lake Elementary had, I think, 5 families from our church.
Wow.
And they all moved to the area at the same time for Boeing. So Boeing was huge. So it was a good move. I mean, really good for my dad, good for my family.
And do you remember those 11 years in Utah? Will?
Some, yeah, okay. I do.
Are they fond, or is it pretty like, it was boring in Utah or something?
It's a beautiful place as well. I love the warmer summers were gorgeous. I have great memories about summers. Lots of fruit trees around where we lived. We had fruit trees in our yard. My mom did a lot of canning, and
I imagine it very like deserty. Like
some parts of it are. So the southern part is more. That's where the canyons are, and once you go south in Utah, you're in kind of a totally different area.
Like gorgeous scenery. Yeah.
It is gorgeous. Yeah. But the whole time we lived there, we did lots of camping. That's how my parents vacationed. And they always took us north to Idaho and Montana. They never took us south to southern Utah. I know it. I kind of wish they had done that more. But anyway, it was a beautiful area to grow up. But Washington was great. And I made friends easily. And it was nice. It was nice. A good move.
Okay. And then do you have siblings? Are you an only
child? I do.
Okay.
I had a brother and 2 sisters. I'm the oldest. My brother Russell died, I want to say 6 years ago. He was an alcoholic, and life was, I think, shortened by that. Wrong decisions. My sister Diane was a member of St. Luke's, and she just died 2 years ago on Christmas Day from Alzheimer's. So I have one younger sister, Deanna, and she is 11 years younger, and she's in Oklahoma. Oh, wow. She and her husband moved down there for Boeing, and they love it, and they're going to stay. They're not coming back. So
say Diana and then Deanna.
I know it. I think they did it because the relatives were like, Diana, Deanna. That's kind of close, Diana and Deanna. Yeah. So I think my parents did it. In spite of that, my brother was Russell, my dad was Robert, my mom is Dorothy. So the girls were all D's and the boys were all R's.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that consistent. Like that makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you moved to Washington when you were 11, and so that transition was fine for you. It wasn't too, I don't know, jerky from all the way in Utah to Washington.
Really interesting. When I walked into my classroom, I got 3 months of 6th grade here. My parents moved us during the school year intentionally so we could make friends, and the kids were so warm and welcoming that it was not a hard transition. I think the hardest transition is 1962 was the year of the World's Fair in Seattle, and it was a cold summer. And my mother had a fire all summer and wore a sweatshirt all summer. It was cold compared to what we were used to in Utah.
Right.
But I learned to swim in Still Lake that summer. So
cool.
My mom says she still doesn't know how I did it. I know. I took swimming lessons in Still Lake. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a fun place to take swim. Like, it's not your local YMCA.
No, it's not. Cold, rainy, whatever the day was, we were there swimming. So.
You moved the same year the World's Fair?
Yeah, the World's Fair was
I'm so
in
interested
Seattle
because we don't have World's Fairs anymore.
Yeah.
But I think living so close to Seattle, I always hear about that's when the Space Needle was made,
Yes.
and like this is the
I don't
world's.
know any of this history.
Yeah.
Either. Yeah.
Yeah, the Science Center, the Space Needle, all of that is from the World's Fair.
So did you go?
I
Or-
did just one time.
Wow, because
Yeah,
that like
I just remember it was very futuristic and what they were showing. They were trying to show you what the future was going to be like. And
yeah.
I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember that.
Do you any kind of like standout memories from it? Like, or like
Not from the fair itself, but I have to say, over the years, I've loved the fountain. You know, they built that fountain at Seattle Center for the fair that's in the middle. And every summer, John and I would take our kids down to Seattle for an outing, and we always sat by that fountain. So what was left from the fair had a bigger impact on me than what was actually at the fair. I think I was too young to get the total gist of
I mean, you're 11.
what they were doing. I was 11. Yeah.
And you had just moved from.
I had just moved. Yeah. So, yeah.
Did you all have family in this area when you
No.
moved? Oh, okay. So you were
No,
kind of
we left family. So my dad had an aunt in West Seattle, an aunt, 2 aunts and an uncle. And so we saw them a little, but no, we left our grandmas and grandpas. We left an aunt. Yeah. So whatever we had, we left in Utah.
So it really was we're going to trust God and that this is like the right decision.
I told my dad once that was a very bold decision. I remember he brought us postcards home from when he visited Seattle, showing us like the floating bridge and some of the really cool things, because I think he wanted us to embrace it before we moved. We were little.
Right.
And I just said that was such a bold move. And he just told me, when you have 4 children and you think you're going to lose your job or your job is in jeopardy, you do what you need to do. So he didn't see it as a bold move. He saw it as a necessity.
Wow.
So, and it worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did. And so what school did you go to at the time?
When I moved up here, I went to Star Lake Elementary. There were only 6 or 7 elementary schools in 1962.
Wow.
And then I went to Lakota, and then they built Totem. So then I got to go to Totem. And then I went to Federal Way High School.
Okay.
But my brothers and sisters all went to Thomas Jefferson.
Oh.
So they had built that by now. So the school district started exploding because of all the people moving up here at that time. It was a big time for Seattle.
Wow.
That'd be such an exciting time. Like all of these people moving, like that's just a lot of change and just so many people to meet. It's an exciting time.
It is. And the people on our block that were moving were just not moving from one city to another. All of them were coming from different locations. So it made it a very close street, close neighborhood. My parents were good friends with a lot of people. They did stuff together. Yeah, it was nice. Yeah. Something about moving into a new neighborhood opposing moving into an existing neighborhood.
Yeah.
People are just more open and eager to make friends.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Like
it was good.
when like moving to a new place, like, and I guess I've never noticed that like I'm moving into a location where people all like are settled or everybody's moving.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think like my neighborhood now. I wonder if I feel like that's not so much the case now. We've met so we moved there in September. We've met the neighbors on one side and they've been there for decades. So they've seen people come and go, and they said to us that a lot of the neighbors are new. So a lot of the people that had been there for decades are gone. And so I feel like they're more hesitant to reach out because there's been so much turnover. So it's hard to want to invest, I guess, in people when you feel like, well, we'll see, I guess, how long they're going to stick around before we go and make an effort. So I feel like our neighborhood right now, everyone's kind of keeping to themselves. And I'm kind of hoping that maybe with the warmer weather, we'll see each other more and we can start talking. But I wish it were like that, where everybody's just kind of wanting to do stuff together and talk. Yeah.
Summer is huge, Brenda. Summer is huge.
I've noticed that everyone's just in a better mood in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
And they're outside. You can meet people in their front yards rather than walking up to their door.
Right.
Hi.
I find it such a big deal when I can like drive home and roll the windows down and not die of hypothermia. Well, I'm from Wisconsin, so I guess it's not like as bad, but it's still like
to turn up your music, put your hand out and feel like warm wind.
Yeah. Oh, there's something so nice about that.
Yeah.
Donna, I'm curious, when you were younger, what did you like to do? Like, were there games that you liked to play, family activities? What did young Donna like?
Wow, that is a long time ago, Brenda. I liked dolls for a long time. I was still playing with dolls in 5th grade. In fact, I got my favorite doll in 5th grade. She was a Toodles doll, and she was $25, and that was a huge expense at that time. My poor parents' marriage. My mom was very clever, very handy, and she sewed all my doll clothes. So I loved dolls. I liked roller skating. I liked my bicycle. Those are my favorites.
Do you still have any of the dolls?
I do. I have my doll. Julie could have cared less, my daughter. I finally made her buy a doll because I said, you need a doll to pass down someday. But she could care less about dolls. Neither did my sister Diane. She didn't like dolls either. But my granddaughter Kate liked my doll. I got my Toodles doll out, and Kylie and Ava both enjoyed it.
They do.
Ava, I don't know. We'll see this summer if she's still into the doll. They transition out so quickly. It's just sad. And she will be in 4th grade next year. So I don't know.
Wow.
So we'll just wait and see. But yes, I have 2 of my dolls. And my grandma got me a beautiful doll that I still have. I have my china dishes. And I love those.
Do you take those out for like special occasions?
I've let the girls play with them, but when we have tea parties and that, my china dishes, my tea set is just really tiny.
Oh, okay.
It's a kid's tea set.
A little sip.
Yes, and I've let Ava's had, tea parties for like dolls and bears on the floor. And have the little tea set out. But when we have tea parties, we use big tea sets. Yeah.
How often do you have tea parties?
Not that often, but we try to do them in the neighborhood twice a year. So, I have neighbor girls across the street, and then Ava and Kylie, and then a couple of other neighbors, and my mom. And it's just fun. We try to celebrate the girls' birthdays. So the little girls' birthdays, we'll pick a day in summer and have a tea party together.
It's so fun.
Nothing like Mitzi's. If you've ever been to a Mitzi tea party.
I'm about to go to a Mitzi tea party this Saturday, so I'll find out. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Mitzi does a tea party that's over the moon. My tea parties are very simplistic compared to Mitzi. She's amazing.
I imagine like Alice in Wonderland, kind of like those like big grand table, like
all of the decor. All right.
So fun. You will have fun.
Okay. I'll let you know how
Did you have to make a Valentine?
Did I have to make a Valentine?
No, did you? You didn't get out. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Ooh,
the one I went to, I had to take a Valentine's.
No, I'm just going to show up.
Good. You will love it.
All right.
It's very good.
Well, I want to shift gears here a little, kind of, or backing up a little. When you moved to Washington, at what point did you get connected to St. Luke's?
Almost immediately.
Really?
We were Missouri Synod Lutheran in Utah, so we moved up here, and I think we lived with my aunt for 1 week in Seattle.
Okay.
But when we moved into our house, it was almost immediately. My mom's hilarious. She called St. Luke's, and it was Pastor Malco at the time.
Okay.
And she said, I don't know whether we should go to Zion in Auburn or St. Luke's in Federal Way. Well, what is Pastor Malco going to say? He's not going to say, I think you should. Yeah. He said, you definitely need to come to St. Luke's. So, So I bet in the whole move, we didn't miss more than 3 weeks at church. And we were back and connected to St. Luke's. Yeah. And at that time, they were that tiny little chapel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I guess where we're in now. Actually,
yeah, right. This is
still part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was part of it.
And where we record podcast is part of the first sanctuary.
It is
crazy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So this this all used to be connected.
Okay.
From what people have told me.
Yes.
How did you first hear of St. Luke's? I mean, at the time, internet was not really a thing.
No, it wasn't. I'm sure she got the phone book out.
Okay. Okay.
Phone books were popular then. Go figure.
Wow, foreign objects to
Local
me.
Lutheran churches.
She just looked up Lutheran Church,
Okay.
Missouri Synod in the phone book. And
Sorry,
No.
you guys were living. You moved to Federal Way or Auburn? Where?
we lived in Kent, actually.
Okay.
Star Lake Elementary is not far from 272nd.
Okay,
And yeah.
so just north of Federal Way, north.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
East.
of who lives over there. Beth Smith lives on Star Lake. If you've been to Beth's house, we were on the other side of the lake and near the school. So yeah,
Okay.
not that far from St. Luke's.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got connected here, and did you ever imagine that you'd be here this long?
No. No.
Wow.
And it's a blessing. It's hard to see people go when people
Yeah.
do leave.
I imagine.
But there are a few. I think the one that's probably been here longer than me is Harry Roth.
Oh,
And Harry Roth was already at St. Luke's when I came to St. Luke's. And I babysat for him and his wife, Mike. So, yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That goes back.
Some people I've known a long time.
Yeah. That's hard for me to picture. I've never been at a church for more than, I don't know, between 5 and 10 years, maybe, if we're starting with my home church. But to be at a place where you're raising your children, where your grandchildren are, and all of these friendships, and then also all of the people that have married into your family.
I know.
I mean, all these weird connections that are hard to keep track of. I mean, that's,
I know.
yeah, so special, but also so hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are. I call us a cult because Julie had met Kevin, her husband, when she was in teaching somewhere. She was student teaching, or Kevin was, and their paths crossed. So when they got together and got married, they actually rekindled their friendship in the church lobby. And then Ken married Kendra, and I grew up with Kendra's mom, Connie. I mean, I've known the Cooks I think they came when I was in 8th or 9th grade. So I've known them forever. So that threw 2 more families together. So yeah. Just all very
Yes. So Kendra was a cook? I know.
Kendra was a cook.
That was her main
Yeah.
name. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's Keith Cook's niece.
Yes. Okay.
So her mom was, Keith's sister. So, and Terry Soto's is also
Okay.
her
They're also
aunt.
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah.
many
So
families.
just, she has lots of connections also. I know what
Just
it's.
Spider web of connection.
It is. It is. It is. So.
Well, looking outside of St. Luke's, did you stay in Washington the whole time? Like, have you? There's no point you moved away. So,
No.
after high school, what happened? I guess what direction did your life go after graduating?
After I graduated, I went to Highline for 2 years.
Okay.
And then I went to work for Weyerhaeuser. And I had met John while I was at Highline, so we got married not long after that. And John and I built a house, and it was 2 miles from my parents.
Oh, wow.
And then we built another house, and it was also probably 2 miles from my parents.
Oh, no.
I know. I did not spread my wings. I do not have,
But
Just here I am.
Are those the same houses you're at now, or you guys have built multiple?
No, then he always built houses on this side for us, and we moved. And then we lived on Lake Killarney for a while. We were right across from where World Vision is now.
Oh, okay.
On that little lake. And then when our kids all grew up, we moved out to Edgewood. John wanted a big shop because he is a contractor, and the guys all love the shop. And so we took a pencil and kind of drew a circle around St. Luke's.
Oh, yeah.
Because, we don't want to leave St. Luke's.
Got to stay in this area.
Yeah. And we built in Edgewood, knowing that we would stay at St. Luke's. So it's just who we are.
I'm interested in hearing you just said, and then I met John, and then we got married.
Yes.
Well,
How did you meet John?
what was
You
that?
first saw him, and then what?
Oh, I knew right away he was a nice guy. I met him at a dance, and John grew up near the airport on 170th. He lived in the same house his entire life. And anyway, and I guess what really made my mind up on John was we met in October, and New Year's Eve he asked me out, and I said, well, I'll go out with you, but I go to church first. And he said, well, I'd like to go to church with you. And from then on, the entire time we dated, John went to church with me.
Wow.
Took new member classes, and I don't know. So it was wonderful.
Did he not go before meeting you?
No, his family did not go. His mother was raised a Christian. His dad was raised Catholic, but they sent John to Baptist Sunday school around the block.
Okay.
And he did not like that. The parents didn't go. They made him go with his older sisters. So yes, he did have a Christian background, and I made sure of that on our first date. So I wanted to make sure. It was important to me that we were on the same paths. Christianity-wise. I did not want to be with a non-believer. So, and then when he started going to church with me, so yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad he said yes.
I know. I am too.
And here you guys are today.
Yeah.
And so, well, you went to Highline for a year and a half.
2 years.
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But then, what did you do? Kind of. I don't know. Is there a line of work you did for the bulk of your life, or did you jump around?
I jumped around. I really didn't have a career.
Okay.
Later on, I thought maybe I should have, but I didn't. So I worked at Weyerhaeuser, and then I quit when I had our children. And then I worked at the school district as an educational assistant, because that worked in, I loved the work. Plus it worked in with my kids' hours. I got summers off. And then John started his own business, so I helped with that a few years. I worked for Phyllis Danforth at Coldwell Banker Danforth for 3 years. That was before Dave ran the business, and before Dave was married to Val. Then I worked at St. Luke's. I worked here.
That was before Brenda and I.
That was before you two. I worked here 13 years. So I quit right before Dan came in. So Dan was not here yet. Yeah.
13
I
years.
quit when Kim came on. Kim came on so I could quit. Kim is fabulous, and I was pleased when they found her. And she took over that job. So, it really wasn't Kim's job the way Kim's job is today. It was all divided up so differently. So
were you doing mostly kind of like office calls, like at the time, like filing? I'm trying to think of like
I know.
normal,
I did office calls, people coming in, greeting them, opening and closing the church. I supported youth. And so I started that with Chris Davis, and I loved that. That was fun. Jake, he was amazing too. He could do a lot of his own. He did a lot of his own behind the scenes stuff. For Chris, I did a lot more for him. I did the bulletin in the days when we had a bulletin. I did the newsletter when we had newsletters. Some of that kind of stuff. So.
How is that transitioning from being a member of St. Luke's to working here? And I guess seeing behind the scenes stuff.
I loved it. I loved it. One day I walked into Vic and I said, Pastor Vic was here when I started, and I said, you are paying me for everything I've done volunteer-wise over the years. I've been involved, It was just kind of hilarious. But I love the people at St. Luke's. I love St. Luke's. My heart is here. It always has been. The staff was great then, and I think it's awesome now. I love all the young people on staff. All of you are so amazing. Just to see the change and the growth, and Pastor Dan and where he's taken us. And it's all wonderful. But I was tired. I was 68 and church work. I don't know. You always want to do a little more or be a little more involved. So It was a huge switch. So I walked out of here, and that same week I walked into BSF and joined BSF because they were here at St. Luke's, and they had been bugging me to come. They were at my desk every week. I couldn't leave without Dixie noticing. So I ended up but anyway, yeah, I love the people. I love this place.
That's so special.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your really kind words too.
I'm going to say, I think you're one of the most encouraging people. I don't know how many times you've come up to me and just randomly hug me and tell me I'm doing a good job, and you walk away. I'm like, all right, well, that was nice. So,
but it also goes a long way, and I think I'd kind of speak into just how supportive you are to the whole staff. Goes a long way just for church workers in general. But partly I think because you also worked, and you see the work that goes into it.
You do. You see what's behind the scenes.
Yeah. And so I guess for people listening, I'd also add support goes a long way for ministry staff.
Just a kind word here and there. You think it's the smallest thing, but it really can turn somebody's day around. Yeah. And I'd say, like, for anyone, support goes a long way for anyone.
I think so. Yep.
If you see a cashier at the grocery store, tell them they're amazing.
Like, don't hold back from doing it. I think a lot of times we overthink things, and maybe you get nervous, so you don't say it and you walk away. But if you said the words, like, you don't know what it means to the next person. Yeah.
I can't imagine you'll lose anything for
right.
It
doesn't hurt.
Encouraging words. Something that we haven't gotten into that I'm also just curious in hearing. So you have 3 children who still are here and members at St. Luke's, but
married to St. Luke's people.
that are very ingrained into St. Luke.
Yeah.
But I guess and what was having children like in like the area and like raising them, and were they behaved? Were they
They were good kids. They were really involved in school, and all of them did well in school, and they were all involved at church. Julie is probably a bit more strong-willed than the boys, and probably tried to push the boundaries a lot more than the boys did. The boys were a little easier after we got her through. But all those characteristics that made her more of a challenge to raise were those characteristics that have followed her into adulthood that make her good at what she's good at, so yeah.
Is she the oldest?
She is the oldest. Okay. Yeah, she is the oldest.
So Julie. Oh, I for some reason always thought Julie was the youngest.
No, she is the leader of the pack. Yeah.
I think that's a oldest child thing. At least in my family.
Yeah.
The same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oldest brother is very strong-willed, but that's come to help him, I think, later in this life.
Yeah.
Where younger siblings might say that they are the bossier one. I'm sure that's what my sister and brother would say about me, because I'm the oldest.
My brother definitely would have said that about me. Yeah, I was bossy.
That's hilarious. So Julie's the oldest, and then who's
Nate?
Nate is the middle child.
The middle child.
Okay.
Yes. He's the one that runs our business. He is the first one to join the compound because he built the apartment above the shop.
Oh, okay.
And so he is living by us now. So, yeah.
So both, I guess, both Nate and Ken, the youngest, they're all doing, I guess, some form of construction work and building. And so
we didn't allow them to do that out of school. They got to work with John, in their summers, but we just suggested they go to college and maybe see if there wasn't something else they wanted to do. And they both boomeranged back into construction. And Ken left our business. I am not good at remembering, maybe 4 years ago.
Okay.
But Ken was also part of the family business. So yes, but he's still in business. He just went more to the commercial side.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm jumping around a lot. Sorry, but like so I guess it's very much a family business now. But did John start the family?
He did.
Was there his dad didn't pass it down to him, or?
His dad was also a carpenter.
Okay.
And he worked for a builder, Leonard Builders, and when John got older, he worked some other jobs, but John ended up working for Leonard Builders also. He worked for the son of the man my father-in-law worked for. So one generation worked for the next generation. And then that son that took over, he decided to quit the business. So John decided he would start his own business. So that's how we ended up with our own business. I think it's been 32 years. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he started it on his own, and then Nate has taken it over because John still works some, but he doesn't want to run a business. Nate brings some good things to the table, so it's been a good transition. Yeah.
Wow. So did you ever get into building and I don't know.
No.
No.
No, I am not. I am not handy. I'm not. My mother is. I don't know why I'm not. My mother is very good at sewing and counter cross stitching, and she was more handy, hands-on. I think maybe one reason I'm not is every time I went to do something, John could do it better. Yeah. I think Julie's very hands-on. She got some of that gift. She said one time, I don't know why I never got to work for Dad. But she was very ambitious and always had other jobs. But all three kids are very handy, hands-on, and they get that from their dad, not me.
Oh, wow.
And then I think even the next generation after them, Cole is also.
I know. Cole is learning a lot.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think he's trying to think of what he wants to do for life.
Sure.
So I don't think this is life, but right now it is John and Nate and Cole. So it's 3 generations going to work together. So
I think that's very
I
cool.
don't know.
It's just, even if it's not forever, it's a cool moment.
Yeah.
It is.
And at the very least, something he can look back on, hey, I got to work with family and learn these things in an environment where a lot of people don't get to work in a family business.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I haven't said this before, I haven't said this before on the show, but Cole Ashbaugh is the grandson of Donna. So,
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
previous guest of the show, Cole, and now his grandmother is now on the show. So
We'll see how many more of you we get on the show.
let's see.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess speaking of Cole, you have 4 grandchildren now?
5. If you count Eric,
And
my bonus grandson.
Yes.
And we
so
do.
Cole,
Yes.
and then Eric, I count him too, because he's been a grandson since he was 5.
Oh, wow.
And then
Yeah.
Kate, and then Kylie and Ava. And Kylie and Ava and Ken and Kendra live in a duplex at the end of our field, so they live right next door to us. So it's very sweet. I get to see the girls
Yeah.
often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very blessed.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you didn't get to grow up near grandparents, so does that cross your mind when you're spending time with your grandkids here?
I didn't get my grandma's till I was 11, and I was old enough I traveled back over the years and visited grandmas. So I felt like I missed some, but not a lot. But my kids, my mother was only 42 when I had Julie. So my mother was a very young grandma and very hands-on, and my kids are just very, very close to her. And so she was a very hands-on grandma, and I wanted to be a hands-on grandma like that. So, and she's a hands-on great grandma. When Ava walks through my front door, my mom lives with us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And when Ava walks through the front door, and often Kylie too, it's not me they come find, it's my mother. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So to have my mom, she will be 92 next month.
Okay.
And doing amazingly well, and such a blessing to have her as part of the compound as well. So
do they call you grandma and great grandma, or do they have other names for you?
they call her Dot.
Oh.
My parents, when the great-grandkids came along, decided that they wanted them to learn their names first, so they called themselves Bob and Dot.
Okay.
Wow.
And so the great-grandkids all grew up with them as being Bob and Dot. So she's Dot.
I love that. I love the intentionality of like,
I know.
Like like you guys are gonna call us by our name.
I know. They were hilarious. Yeah.
And
like that.
do the grandkids, do they call you grandma? Do they?
Yeah,
call
they
you?
call me Grandma.
Okay.
I'm Grandma.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get the normal treatment.
I get the normal. Yeah. I'm just for Grandma and Grandpa. Yeah.
It works. Yeah.
I love and appreciate because you got your house was actually I think the first house that I went to.
I remember that.
The day I moved in, I was picking up furniture from your guys' house, and my dad was with me, and we just noticed like, wow, the whole family is so like close and intertwined. Like, and I know you said before, like, I guess you didn't like spread your wings to branch out, but I love it that you guys are just so close knit and together. Like, that's something I think a lot of families, and I'd say most families nowadays, take for granted. Like the just being close to family, and just I love it. I admire that.
Yeah.
That's
I do appreciate it. I'm in Bible study fellowship with a lot of women my age, and their children aren't around here.
Right.
Or they're, I mean, we're at a time. Well, look at you two. I
was
mean,
gonna
you
say,
aren't by
yeah.
your families, you know, and I think of that, and I feel bad about that. You seem to stay in touch with them, and they get to come visit, but
but
not that much, though. Have your parents been here?
They did. They were once.
Oh, I met your dad when you first came.
Yeah.
Your
Oh, yeah.
dad.
So he helped.
Yeah.
He moved with. He helped me move, and then my
Yes.
parents came back one other time, kind of just in the middle of COVID, right before Lauren and Mai's wedding. So they came to visit, but I'm trying to get the whole family to visit up here just to show them.
It's hard to get everybody together. For us, we usually go back to visit them. Like we'll go see Adam's family or go see my family. But I think about it when I see other families celebrating milestones, like, oh, like somebody in the family is having like a baby shower, and to like have everybody come together and to be able to invite people locally, like your aunts and your uncles and your cousins are nearby. That's really special. So I think there's something to be said about planting roots, and that your roots and your family all kind of stay nearby, because you have that. I mean, there's pros and cons to both, but there's times when I'm like, I kind of wish my immediate family and my extended family were local. Like that would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something like I miss. Well, because I'm being the youngest. My oldest, I guess my oldest brother was nearby, but we slowly kind of just kept moving away. But we're still connected. But it's very different. Like
It is.
it makes the moments you see them that much more special, but you still miss them incredibly much. So
And it's hard to say goodbye every single time.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I also find it interesting because that's kind of the same similar like leap of faith that your dad took
Right.
when he moved out.
Moving.
Like you moved away from family, moved away from everything you guys knew.
Yep.
And just kind of started someplace brand new.
So Christmases, when we were used to Christmas Eve with Dad's family and
Right.
Christmas Day with Mom's or whatever, my family was at church. You know, my mom's family was. We came up here and it was just us. And it was so odd, those first holidays.
New traditions and everything.
Yeah.
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 And yeah, so
Then my mom got good about inviting people from church. You know, we had a Jerry Blessing, his family.
Wow.
Mom celebrated Thanksgiving with us a few times. I know that Mom and Dad were close to his parents. And so, you know, you just start inviting different people from church to join you.
Yeah. And so now do Christmases look the same each year? Or like no.
No, because even though we're all here, they all have their other families. Cole and Kate have a dad, Mike, and so his family, and then there's our family and Kevin's family, and then Kendra, same thing. She's got, even though her mom is gone, she's still got her mom's family and her dad's family, and so we celebrate like Christmas on an off day as a family because it's very hard to do it. One reason is Christmas Day, and this is another crazy thing in my life. All of John's family comes to our house. So we had 29 this year. We had a niece from Germany. We had a nephew from Virginia. We were missing 2. So that part of holidays is set in stone. I don't know why. Our whole marriage, we've celebrated with John's family on Christmas Day, and we all still get together. So...
Wow.
They come from Portland and Seattle and all over the place, so that's such a blessing.
So you guys still very much juggle different family dynamics.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so for our own family, we do Christmas usually the Saturday before Christmas. We will do Christmas with just our kids, and we love that. It's not rushed. It's
Yes,
we don't care about, and we love the church services. So to try to fit all the church, the church services in, and
yeah, I hear that the worship director uses a lot of the Breyer family. So.
It's all good. We love that. It's always been that way. Both my sisters played the church organ here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My youngest sister, Deanna, was the organist for quite a while, and she played an ensemble for a long time until she left. So Deanna was very much part of the music. So Christmas Eve never started till 9 o'clock when all the church services were done. So...
wow.
Imagine if they ended that early now, Shane.
Imagine. Not leaving the next Christmas Day. Oh, that's
Do you play instruments, Donna?
No.
You don't?
I did. I played the violin, but I haven't played it for years.
Okay.
And I tried piano, but I didn't stick with it. My sisters both did, but I did not. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. So... It's been really just insightful and just so incredible having you on, Donna. Like, there are so many things I know I'm gonna want to ask once we wrap up the podcast. Like, so many other things, like, but what about, and where did you? Like, there are so many things and things to learn about you, but it's incredible having you on the show, Donna.
Thank you.
Thank you just for sharing.
I love you both. I love the podcasts. I rarely miss them. Getting to know other people at St. Luke's is such a joy. Yeah.
I love hearing stories, and
I do too.
I'm really looking forward to how many people I'll have conversations with after this episode about, like, I didn't know Donna was going to be on, and I learned this. Like, that's my favorite part, is when I listen to them too.
Yeah.
It's almost easier to approach that person. Like, there's been people that I approach, I'm like, I heard you on the podcast. I didn't know this and that, and that was really cool that you were on it. And we might not have had that conversation, or as soon as we did, if they hadn't been on the podcast. So
yeah. I love just seeing. So if you've never met Donna, you can normally find Donna on a Sunday morning at St. Luke's. And just the sweetest person. You'll know who they are. But
yes, and if not, she will find you. If she sees you
you
standing there by yourself, she will come and talk to you.
I try.
Yes.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, just for tuning in. Again, if you want to just support the show, leaving a comment, leaving a review, a like, subscribe, anything goes a long way. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Brenda, too, for joining as our special friend of the show, or whatever Pastor Dan says. Yeah. So have a great day. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.
That's the end of the episode, but we want to continue the conversation. Continue the conversation by sharing this episode, subscribing, or leaving a review. Connect with us on Instagram at 2414 Podcast. Connect with us through email at 2414@stlukes-church.com. Or best of all, keep the conversation going by inviting someone to process with you. so that you can each walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. If you happen to be in the Seattle-Tacoma area of Washington, stop by on a Sunday morning and say hi. 2414 is a podcast produced by St. Luke's Lutheran Church in Federal Way, Washington. To find more content, discover upcoming opportunities to connect in person, or to support the show, head on over to stlukes-church.com. Thanks for walking with us.